Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Dads and Daddies, a podcast about the lives and times of adult gay men in the here and now. I'm Brian Ruben Sowers, the dad.
And I am Judson Morrow, the daddy.
Hi, Judson.
What up?
How's it going?
I'm great. I'm really feeling myself. I wore my wide leg Britney track pants over here.
Yes. And my daughter, just home from her fashion school, has made a pair today just like them.
She looks incredible.
As do you.
She was like, "Do you like these?" I was like, I love. How do you know? How do you know to do this? You're 10.
I'm so proud of my little fashion designer.
I am too. I mean, not just good on the design, like the work is good. Like the stitching is good.
Yeah.
I inspected like the dress she had on 2 weeks ago and I was like, okay, this is really solid craftsmanship.
Yeah, no, I'm very proud. I mean, for her birthday this year, we got her a whole sewing station in her bedroom. We got
she showed it to me.
A table and a sewing machine and a dress form, and Toby took her to a fabric store and they stocked up. And it's really sweet. Like now when it's bedtime, I say goodnight and she stays up making something.
The way I was friends with all the middle-aged women working at Joann Fabrics in Toledo, Ohio in the 90s. My God.
Yes.
They're like, we got a sample and saved it for you. I was like, oh my God. Thanks, Cheryl.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet.
Weekly excursions.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What's going on?
I am feeling great. I had my, I've only been at my new job for 5 months.
Yes.
But that's fallen on a review cycle.
Okay.
So, like, I've already gotten reviewed.
Okay.
I got my biannual review, even though I've only been there for 5.
Oh my God.
And it was great.
Oh, good.
I am meeting expectations.
I mean, no surprise, but yes.
Thank you so much. I am meeting expectations, which I love.
Yes.
That's like what it says on paper. And then what they didn't say on paper is like, dude, like your work is great. Everyone really likes you. We're glad you're here. Like, here's to another 6 months.
Oh, nice.
And I'm eligible for a fucking bonus.
That's so nice.
All that
I don't want to
plus,
talk about bonuses.
All that plus money.
Amazing. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, thank you so much. What a wild turn of events.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, right? It gets better.
It gets better, folks. Just hang in there, kitty.
Yeah. I love that. Speaking of getting better.
Yes. Were you sick?
Well, no, but the listeners have been following along on my eyesight journey with me.
Yes.
For over a year now.
Thank you, listeners, for asking because I never inquire.
And so the reason I'm bringing this up is that I finally have a surgery scheduled for my cataract in my left eye. I'm young for cataracts, but my father had them a little bit older than I am now. So we're chalking it up to genetics. But yeah, my eyesight's gotten pretty terrible pretty quickly. And so after a year of seeing a retina specialist who finally gave me the green light to go back to the cataract specialist, I have my surgery scheduled.
Do you need a ride?
I will need a ride home.
Because I can do that for you. Ask my husband.
I heard you're great at that.
I just picked him up from a colonoscopy, so I got you.
Thank you.
Don't even worry about it. Just let me know.
So here's why it's a subject for the podcast is that, he tells me that after the surgery, I'm going to need to refrain from straining, lifting any heavy equipment. I said, well, how quickly can I go back to work? And he said, you can go back the next day. It's an outpatient surgery as long as you're not like lifting anything heavy. And so I scheduled it for the earliest possible they had because it really is wearing on me. The quality of my eyesight is a real problem. And so they gave me a date, and I took the very first date that I could get. And then I realized that it's 2 days before our friend's next sex party. And so
don't lift anything heavy.
I literally, so we have this, he's at NYU and you have this online portal and you can send messages back and forth with your doctor. So I sent a message saying, just to clarify, how long do I need to refrain from sexual activity? And unfortunately, he wrote back and said, yes, sexual activity is straining, so you need to refrain from that for a week. So I really sat with the thought for a while, rescheduling. Do I push off? But I've decided, this
is gay calendar math.
My husband and the host of the party, that my eyesight, and they are right, obviously, is more important than a night of getting pounded. So, and I can wait till the next month. So I have to skip. I was so proud of myself because I had a streak of 3 months in a row making this party. But I have to, I'll have a clean slate as far as the streak goes because I need to take care of my eyesight.
Well, we always say there will always be more sex.
I know. And I had such a good time this last time. And, to the point that like a few of the guys I met that night and I have been like DMing.
Oh, I love that.
There's one who like, we've been texting, like, so it's like, it felt really good. And I was excited to like get right back at it. But, especially because like what I've kind of realized about myself is most of my extramarital sex is happening at these parties. And they really do satisfy me for quite a while because, as you know, a lot happens there. So I'm sad to miss it this month, but I am happy to finally be taking a significant step, hopefully, towards restoring my eyesight.
I also just realized, looking at our setup, like our physical pod setup, that it might be too heavy. So you should probably show me how to do it.
Oh my God, that's really funny. I'll set it up.
Brian, I'm the personality here, and Brian is the workhorse. Is what this is.
That's very funny. That's a good point. I will set it up because, believe it or not, I'm having the surgery on a Thursday. I don't know what time of day yet. And that next day we are recording. So
I do believe it. That sounds exactly like you.
I'm not sure what I'm going to look like. I may order an eye patch just to be safe.
But make it fashion. Oh my God. Make your daughter make you something fashion.
Oh, that's really smart. That's really smart. Okay.
It's only one eye, right?
Yes, we're doing one at a time.
Like, if they did both at the same time, you'd be like blind.
Yeah.
Got it.
And right now my left eye is the big problem. He says within a year I will very likely need to do my right eye. But we'll cross that bridge. I'm very curious to see how this improves my eyesight because like when we do the vision, this is probably so dull for our listeners right now. When we do the vision test.
No, our listeners have cataracts. That's true.
When we do the vision test in the office and they do the right eye and I can pretty much see it. And when it gets too small, I can't. But then they have me test the left eye and it's like, what am I looking at?
Yeah.
Is there something there?
Writing? Yeah.
So I'm excited. Although also not scared about the surgery, the way it was described to me.
Taking care of your health is important.
Yes.
Good job.
Thank you.
Some people would let this go until it was, irreversible.
Yeah, no, I can't. Especially like I have kids. I want to see what they look like. And I want to be able to drive them places.
That's a really sweet commitment. That was not something my parents were concerned about.
Speaking of,
yes,
like you know that I preach staying out of the comments, not listening to the haters, particularly those
But you did it.
Well, particularly those that give us hate based on our reels, which are just 60 to 90 second clips out of a much larger conversation without context, which are intentionally pushing the envelope so that people do want to listen to the full conversation.
Yeah. It's a traffic driver.
But every now and again, I can't avoid it the way notifications are pushed, whatever. And this one I just kind of have to address less for me than, this is what I've been thinking about, than if there are other people listening to this podcast or watching our reels who are in my same situation, being a dad who wants to fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to see these comments and feel that they have to curb their behavior, right?
We're celebrating that.
So, yeah, exactly.
You can have it all.
So maybe it was not the smartest thing to do, but we posted a clip from our conversation with Mike Fales and Gina Spears of The Big Cunty Couch, where I relate a story from my recent Disney cruise with the family, where Toby and I had given each other some time to hook up, and I was able to book 2 back-to-back hookups, and in that time, I accidentally spilled some poppers.
Oh, right.
And I joked about, like, having to clean it up, so when the kids came back, they weren't all, like, woozy from the poppers, right? Well, that clip has kind of gone over like a lead balloon, and like the comments are really harsh about me as a parent, how disgusting I am, and and then a few weeks later when we posted our episode with the wonderful Eric Williams, somebody just took I think it was just the post announcing the new episode, took that as an opportunity to say, oh, great. So more stories, an opportunity for you to tell more stories about how you ignore your kids to seek out dick.
Brian.
And like, I know I do not ignore my kids. I know that my kids could not get more attention from me, from my husband. They know how loved they are. I mean, the amount of quality time we have together, the amount of like cuddling and songs sung and books read and like deep conversations and all of these things, in addition to showing up at all of their stuff and taking them on these, wonderful experiences, including said Disney cruise. Like, I know I shouldn't be insecure because some asshole like heard one story and thinks I ignore my kids for sex. But the reason I wanted to address it is because like the whole point is that we should be able to live our full lives, and that doesn't mean my kids get any less of me. And in fact, they spent that time with their other dad. It's not like they were like left out to dry somewhere. Anyway, that one particularly hurt.
I really appreciate your sharing. And as a non-parent in this partnership, I do think it's really valid to talk to it, because there's probably a lot of parents that like maybe they didn't have the exact same situation that you described in the reel, but feel some sort of guilt when they pursue anything that is about them and not their children. Right. Like, we've created a culture that's like, if the focus is not entirely and constantly on the kid, you're a bad person. Right. But it's what about like my need to socialize and my wanting to get to the gym? Like, just remove the sex from it entirely and think about just like taking care of yourself. Yeah. We're very, very critical of that. And I think there's a lot of same-sex parents that are listening like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, thank you. That. I hope so. But also, my strong belief, is that like happy parents make for happy kids. And my kids. Yeah. They couldn't be more connected to us or to each other. And they live happy. Their base is happy. And I think that's because as a group, we are a happy group, because Toby and I are so happy in our marriage, in our very open marriage. Which I think is one of the keys to our happiness. And so there's this constant love in this house. And anyway, I don't need to go on and on about it, but like it's just been sitting with me. Like, wow.
No, thank you for sharing. It is wild how people who don't have the complete picture can make us feel so bad about like our greatest strengths. Yeah. I know that it's going to take a little work on your part and probably some time, but like, you're a great fucking dad.
Thank you.
You guys are both amazing dads.
It truly is one of the very few things in this life that I'm actually confident about without faking it, that I know I'm a great dad. And so anyway, that's what's helped me get through it. And I want you all to know, all of you dads and daddies and papas and whatever you go by, Abba, whatever it is, that pursue your own happiness and the happiness in your marriage, because that is going to bleed into the whole family life. And that should include fucking.
Yeah, I'm amazed at how happy-go-lucky I am as an individual.
Yeah.
Given how miserable my parents were, like, because it rubs off, and
Yeah,
like
it
you
absolutely rubs
you
off.
notice it,
And they're sponges.
you learn some really shit behaviors when it comes to communicating with your partner that you have to unlearn.
Yeah.
And then relearn in a totally different way. So I'm just here to advocate for, yeah, if you're fucking miserable around your kids, like they're also going to be miserable.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you say you had something you wanted to talk about in terms of your linguistics?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Background?
Well, not necessarily my background, but I learned a new word. Here's how I want to start it. So when I was in middle school, my girlfriend, who's actually my brother's wife's sister, she had this baby doll tee because it was the 90s.
Okay.
And it said, "Labels are for jars, and you are not a jar." And I loved it because I was like such a nonconformist.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. That leads into the point perfectly. But at the same time, that's funny. The irony here, what I'm about to say. I like labels now because it helps me understand myself and helps me understand other people.
Sure.
And have you heard of outrovert? Not introvert, not extrovert, but outrovert?
I have not.
I'm going to share us a little something from The Guardian. An outrovert is a personality type coined by psychiatrist Dr. Rami Kaminsky in 2025 that describes individuals who are socially capable but feel no need for or comfort in belonging to a group. They are outsiders on the inside who prefer one-on-one connection over group conformity. They are friendly, empathetic, and independent thinkers who avoid communal rituals. And it just resonated with me because I always talk about how I'm just LARPing extroversion, like how I have that muscle because I was in sales and I was in hospitality. Like I can do the thing when the moment arrives, but I would so much rather either be by myself or be in something intimate than a group. / thank you for coming to the Screw Winter party. I just wanted to share it because I feel like there are probably listeners out there who are like, oh yeah, that is exactly me, where, you know, you're not introverted, you're not extroverted, but you're this other thing.
Otra, like other in Spanish?
Yeah, that's exactly what it goes on to describe. Otro in Spanish for other, and then also Latin ver, to turn. So other turners.
I love that.
Yeah, it really hit home for me, especially because sometimes
So now you have a community to belong to, even though you don't want to belong to a community.
the community of Otraverts. Because sometimes I wonder, like, do I love being a queer person? Absolutely. Do I get hypercritical about the things that I feel are just like a marketing ploy? Also, yes. And I feel sort of...
In terms of the gay community, you mean?
Yeah, of just like, you're gay, you'll like this. Spend $1 billion.
Right.
I also am like, why do I judge that so much? Like, why do I feel this need to feel so like distinct from that? And now I have words for it.
I love it. What does it say about an outrovert who marries the like most extroverted person?
That their relationship is destined to fail. No, my husband is the truest extrovert.
I mean, is there somebody more extroverted?
I've never met anyone else in my entire life who gets so much energy from being around people, part of the part. Yeah, like we are very different in that regard.
Yeah. And yet, how many years now?
16, baby.
Yeah. Amazing.
So thank you for letting me share that.
Of course, I love
there's
it.
A little more, there's more information in this doctor's book. The concept was introduced by Dr. Rami Kaminsky in his book, The Gift of Not Belonging, How Outsiders Thrive in a World of Joiners. Listeners, if that sounds like you, check it out.
Amazing. Speaking of sharing things, we have a listener who's shared with us quite a doozy.
Oh, yes.
I am very curious for you and all of our listeners to hear this one.
Hookup of the Week.
Hey, Dad and Daddies. Mid-30s sub boy from the West Coast here. I'm currently visiting New York at the moment, and I met up with my dom in New York yesterday. Gosh, my throat still feels tingly after the visit. I've been missing his cock so much. We were supposed to meet today, but I got so horny and was showing off my pussy hole and my craving for him over texting. He had some time left before he was meeting up with friends later in the evening, so he called me over for a pre-play session. I got dressed up in my slutty gear, a slutty mesh crop, skirt, black see-through thong, thigh-high white socks, and steel-caged cock. I went over, stripped naked, and just went to town on his cock. His cock. His big perfect 8-inch cock. As soon as I sniff it, it touches my lip. I just feel this overwhelming sense of not being able to stop. Like I just have to keep taking it deeper and deeper down my throat. I just want it all inside of my throat and inside of me. Every now and then, he whispers in my ear, he kisses me gently. My ears, neck, shoulder, lips. His thick, pillowy lips feel so good. He licks my lips, he squeezes my nipples, all of which just makes me want to please him more. To throat his cock deeper and to take his cock all the way inside my pussy. He feeds me poppers while I have his cock in my mouth. He feeds a whiff and I just become a ravenous pig, taking his cock, throating it, and sticking out my tongue to tickle his balls. After having his way with my throat, he turns me around and just really eats me out, fucking me with his tongue. This just keeps going and it just opens me up more. And then he asks if I'd like his cock now. I say yes without hesitation, and my hole is already so open and wet from all his tongue fucking. I just fucking take it. All of his 8 inches of his thick, hung cock. He fucks me in all the way, all the angles, making me feel new sensations in my pussy hole that I've never felt before. Every time we meet, usually once a year when I visit New York, we reach new levels of this dom-sub sex dynamic that I never knew I could reach. I'm meeting up with him again later today. Wish me luck, daddies.
Hookup of the week.
Okay, I have never given this much thought until that. Can we play this on the air?
I know, it made me blush.
Oh my God, I am not one to clutch my pearls, but like
Right.
Here I was, all a Twitter, my God.
Yeah.
Woo.
I think we can.
Can we?
I think podcasting is the Wild West. We always mark our
Jesus.
pods as having explicit language. I know.
Good for both of them. Fuck.
Right. I know. I mean, I'm so fascinated in a way to hear you react like that, because I had the same reaction, but of the two of us, do consider myself the more conservative. Yeah, it made me blush. But then I thought, like, who am I to keep this from our audience from being played?
No, they sent it for a reason.
Right.
They want it shared, and rightly so.
And I mean, I will say the joy and the pleasure is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I just love all of the kind of satisfaction and the anticipation for this annual visit, and then the tingling the day later. I mean, there's just like, and yes, obviously the act itself, like the descriptive nature. I love how this dynamic grows and evolves year on year. It's very, very cool, but like, yeah, it's impressive.
The thing that I think about too is how, like, less than quantity. I know that like some criticism around number has come up before, and I get that in terms of our ability to have lots of different partners in a lifetime, that like on occasion, like we can connect at this like deep level.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we're in the majority.
Right.
I think it's a minority of people who find this type of connection in sex.
Right.
And I feel so grateful for it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I just love the, I think there's so much misperception out there about dom-sub relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, obviously, we've talked about Pillion, that movie, and people pointed out that even the relationship in Heated Rivalry, there's, dom-sub aspects to it, quite a lot actually. But like there's clear care for one another, and both people getting out of it what they want and need. And I just love this as an example of that.
There is a world where, let me see if I can explain this appropriately. The sub's adoration for this Dom's cock. We don't know that the Dom necessarily enjoys the actual act of fucking the sub, but it is possible that his enjoyment is fully through the sub's enjoyment of his own dick. Like, I love that.
Right. I mean, we're going to assume that he enjoys
fucking topping is pretty fucking great.
Yeah.
But like as an added, like I'm sure it sounds like it is like an enthusiastic romp.
Yes. Oh, yes. I also love that like he came to town, the plan was to see him the next day, but they were able to make it happen for the day before and still kept the next day's plans. Like, that's kind of really lovely. It's so funny. I liken this. I tell people, you know, how like moving and beautiful I find Oh Mary, and most people go and like scratch their heads like, you find that moving and beautiful because it's so wackadoodle. But I mean, similarly, like there's something like really gorgeous about this.
I love how fucking gay you are.
I know, I'm so gay. I'm so gay.
You're like, let me relate Oh Mary to a Dom sub relation. It's just great. It's just great.
There's that. I mean, there is. Anyway, that's a whole. I could write an essay.
You should go to grad school.
I went to grad school for creative writing, as it happens. All right. Thank you so much for submitting that. We really appreciate it. Please do send us your hookups of the week. They do need to be recordings. We've had a few people DM us or email us with like written out hookups of the week. But for hookups of the week, they do need to be a recording. If you are uncomfortable hearing your own voice, maybe there's somebody in your life that can read it for you. As I've mentioned, I've heard rumors, although I'm not schooled in this, nor am I the biggest proponent of AI, but that there's ways to have AI do it. Although obviously we don't want it to sound like Siri reading to us. But anyway, please record on your phone using your voice memo or voice recorder app, depending on your platform, and then email that recording to dadsanddaddies@gmail.com.
Can you imagine the voice of Waze like sending in?
Oh my God.
Turn left.
Or like seasonally they have like partnerships with celebrities. Yeah, maybe you can like have AI read it to us as like, I don't know, what's a good voice?
Cardi B.
Oh, there you go.
That'd be sick.
I like that. So we're very excited. For the last several weeks, we've been telling, or many of the several weeks, we've been telling you either on the show or in our newsletters to read Hola Papi by John Paul Brammer because he's going to be on the show, and we're finally there. So hopefully you've been reading it, and we'll enjoy this conversation we're about to have with John Paul. We cannot wait to meet him. We've both read the book and loved it, and have so many thoughts and questions. So, right after the break, we'll have John Paul. But also, I mean, I kind of love this idea of like giving our listeners the heads up about writers we're going to have on the show so they can go ahead and read.
Oh, real? Yeah. Like a book club. Book club.
It's kind of our book club. So the next author we're going to have on the show is Zachary Zane, whose book is Boy Slut, a memoir and manifesto. So you can imagine why we've invited him on the show. But I just in the foreword, he starts by saying, I've wanted to write this book for quite some time, and for a simple reason. I'm not aware of a memoir or a manifesto written by a bisexual man about how to overcome sexual shame. So clearly, we are kindred spirits.
He's our guy. I can't
guy.
wait to find someone reading a hard copy of Boy Slut on the train.
I know.
It's over for you, bro. We're going to date.
And it begins with a whole glossary, BDSM, bisexual, boy slut, so many things. Bussy, compersion, look, that's there. Metamor, you like that word. So I'm excited for that. And then the first section is part 1, sexual shame. So clearly, this is a book for our audience. So pick that one up next, and we'll have Zachary on in a few weeks. Anything else before we take a break?
Let's take a little break and get on back.
Sounds good.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Hey, listeners, welcome back to Dads and Daddies, the podcast. Brian and I would like to extend a very special welcome to our guest in Brian's basement, John Paul Brammer. What's up?
Oh,
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm great. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So for like the first time ever, we've given our listeners a heads up that you were coming. And so you're kind of like our first author in our Dads and Daddies book club.
Whoa.
And we've decided that now we're going to like give people a heads up so they can like read the book in advance.
Okay,
and so,
literate.
yeah, we're trying.
I want to say this too. It's hard to say like who are your favorite guests because you don't want to alienate other guests.
Right.
But I think authors specifically, because I get to spend so much time with the content. I mean, the argument could be made that for adult entertainers, like,
Yes.
But it just, it's like I'll say consuming. I'm reading the work while I'm doing all these other things. So it's like I get to carry you through a bunch of different moods.
Yeah.
And for us, I think you're a very special guest because we didn't put an incredible amount of thought when we started this podcast into the fact that we were going to include an advice segment. We just kind of thought it was a cute idea.
Yeah.
And so
Till we got sued.
No, shut up. We have not gotten sued. So anyway, so in reading your book, Hola Papi, which talks a lot about your advice column and is structured as responses to questions, it was so kind of interesting and affirming to hear some of what you've dealt with. So I want to talk about some of that. But first, I always start by embarrassing our guests by reading their bio in front of them. So nobody likes it, but everybody suffers through it. John Paul Brammer is an award-winning writer and artist from Lawton, Oklahoma, currently based in Brooklyn. His memoir and essays, Hola Papi, was published in 2021 and is based on his popular advice column of the same name. His bylines include The New Yorker, The New York Times, The Washington Post, and The Los Angeles Times. He is working on his second and third books. Once again, welcome to Dads and Daddies, John Paul Brammer.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you. So you were on The Moth, the podcast in November, and you shared a story which almost felt like an outtake from the book because it's a story that we get a little bit more detail about one of your stories you tell in the book. And then afterwards you sat down for an interview. And then once that episode was out, I got almost simultaneous texts. One from my sister-in-law, Kelly, Toby's, my husband's sister in Cleveland, and one from Bruce, Judson's husband, saying, you must have this person on Dads and Daddies. So that's why you're here.
Oh,
so we're thanking
wow.
Kelly and Bruce for that.
Thank you, Kelly and Bruce.
Yeah. So I know there have been some developments in your life since the book, but if you don't mind, I'd love to like go back in time a bit and start with the book. So again, particularly for us, there's so much about like what you say about being an advice columnist that like it really spoke to me. And I think this is where our heads were when we started the podcast, which I dreamed of making a space for the wayward grinder users of the globe to feel affirmed, understood, and a little less lonely. Not just them, but LGBTQ people around the world. And that you wanted to be part of something bigger than yourself, wanting to connect to your community on a deeper level. And you go on to say you didn't think anybody had any business giving someone else advice unless that person was a doctor or Dolly Parton, which is an opinion I also hold dear. And you kind of realize that you could become, which is something we've realized, I think, an accidental authority figure. So yeah, in that way, I feel like we're very kindred in wanting to create this space, but realizing that like, who am I to be giving this advice? Yeah. So, I mean, we'll get to like how this has evolved for you, and I know that we'll talk about your recent post 8 years later on your Substack. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, let's talk a little bit about what it was like for you to, and I know it kind of was an accidental opening of this world for you, but what it was like to become this accidental authority figure.
Yeah, I'm actually so glad to be talking about this today of all days. It's such a weird coincidence that this is my second time today seeing that book cover. The first time, The Observer, this outlet in the UK, wrote, "Here's why John Paul Brammer stopped giving advice." And it was like a very tender essay, kind of like the writer brought his own experience into it. He's like a straight man who was reading Hola Papi, and he was just trying to sort out, why did John Paul Brammer quit doing that? And very touching essay, really enjoyed it. But that's all to say that it's so bizarre that I would find myself talking about Hola Papi in a separate context right now. And things just line up sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's been on my brain for the past week, I would say. And the thing about that column, I have a much better relationship to it now than I did when I was sort of like still forcing myself to write it. Once something kind of goes away formally, you look back and you're just like, wait a minute, that was great. I love doing that. It didn't really feel that way in year like 7
right,
of
right.
doing it. But I feel very tender toward it now. And so I'm able to look at it with a lot more grace and a lot more just feeling thankful about the whole experience. And so I kind of don't mind so much anymore that I was in no position to give anyone formal advice. I think that I was just doing what all of us do, which is, when someone asks you a question, you kind of answer. You kind of want to help people out.
Yeah.
And yeah, like so much about Hola Papi, it didn't begin with me wanting to be helpful. It began with me wanting to be funny.
Right.
It began with me wanting to make a living out of writing. And then the tenderness of it sort of asserted itself. It sort of said, can you take this seriously? And I had to make the decision, okay, am I going to make advice columnist an actual job? And to an extent, it kind of felt like it was pushed on me. But then once I wrestled with it, I thought, you know what? Yeah, let's just have fun with this. And so this is having fun with it. The book was just me having fun with it for several years.
Sometimes people know better than we do. Like, I know that it was like bestowed on you as part of like a larger process, but like even just like Brian coming to me and being like, we're going to do this. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You know best.
Yeah. It was very that, because I think, at the same time, I was writing all sorts of stuff, almost none of which I'm proud of, because it was like puff pieces,
Right.
The example that I usually give is I was doing these like quick hit articles for Teen Vogue, and I remember just sitting on the M train on my way to my other writing job, composing articles for Teen Vogue, and one morning was like, OMG, Kylie Jenner matched her dress to her fidget spinner. And it was just one of those days where you're just like, is this what my abuela like pick fruit in this country for me to do? Is it just like, is this what it's going to be? And yeah, like that morning is just so stuck in my head because it was like kind of right before Hola Papi came about. And so I was like a lot of people in Brooklyn just hoping that I could make writing, make creativity my work. And to be able to live here on that work. And Hola Papi is the thing that showed up and said, yes, you can. So,
but like most importantly, what color were her dress and fidget spinner?
It was lime green.
Okay.
Which is, I think that like the boldness of that color is what made it newsworthy. If it had just been,
and this is like pre-Brat.
Yeah, this was Brat before.
Wait,
okay. I would have read it.
I want to find it and frame it. One thing, my mom is like very supportive of me. And so one thing she did after I first started writing articles in like 2014 was like get some of them framed. And it's just like the worst articles you've ever seen. Like the headlines are just really like, with one tweet, Nancy Pelosi just slayed House Republicans. It was just like stuff like that,
But it's got your byline.
Now I just want the fidget spinner one framed.
Yes. No, that makes sense.
Like, keep it in my shrine.
Well, I talk often on the podcast about the fact that like I met my husband through Grindr, and that the very beginning of our very first conversation is printed out and framed on our wall here.
That's cute.
But speaking of Grindr, for those who are listening and don't know this, Hola Papi did start as a Grindr project.
It did.
Yeah. I don't personally remember ever being served an advice column on Grindr.
I remember.
Well, you were writing it.
I remember being confronted with my own writing while opening up Grindr to talk to people. That was quite a trip. It's kind of funny. We were talking about things like kind of coming full circle.
Yeah.
I was doing writing on Grindr in that sort of Playboy, just here for the articles kind of way. And now I'm writing stuff for Playboy. So
that is so funny.
I have a niche, I will say that. I certainly do. But yeah, it started as Grindr wanting to have a media outlet, and that media outlet was called Into. My friend Matthew Rodriguez was working as an editor there and said, you should pitch a column to us. And I was so overworked with my puff pieces that I was like, I don't trust myself to come up with a new topic to write about every single week.
Right.
Which is how many times I wanted to write, because more columns, more paychecks, etc.
Yep.
Is that the onus of the author? Like to come up with the topic every week?
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. So it depends. You could do like a weekly, every 2 weeks, once a month. And I wanted to do weekly because, I was in a grind set. I was like, I want to be writing all the time. It's the only way I'm going to make rent in Ridgewood, et cetera, et cetera. So I didn't want to come up with something new every single week. I just didn't have the bandwidth mentally for that. And that's how the advice column happened, because I was like, people will write to me and they will tell me what to write about. So I knew that gay people never run out of dilemmas. So
it turns out.
Inexhaustible well. Yeah.
No, we get it, because the first many episodes of our podcast were a topic, and it was the two of us talking. And now those are few and far between because we feel exhausted by determining what the topics are. So we book guests all the time. But what I've learned, we give a disclaimer, as you'll hear when we get to it, about not being, mental health professionals, all of that. But what I feel, this is episode 98, is that through these years of giving advice, is that I've learned so much about myself, and I've developed so much more confidence in myself from doing it. Also because of the responses that we get from people, just, even the ones who aren't submitting the questions, but other people who react to the answers and say how much they've been helped by them. What was it? What did it do for you? Did you?
Gosh, it's so hard to say because it just defined so much of my daily life
Right.
for such a long time.
Right.
And so it sort of just became my daily ordinary. And
Right.
so when writing Hola Papi, it was almost like there was just this room in my brain where that voice lived. And I was able
And you're talking
to,
the column, not the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was able to just use that voice.
Right.
And so to me, in a way, it felt kind of utilitarian almost. And then when people would thank me for it, or when people would say, that really touched me, I would feel so moved, but also this weird feeling of just I wonder if they know that I'm just tapping on this voice. And so in a way, I felt a little fraudulent in the whole thing, because I was just I am using this thing for content. It is going up so that people can read it. And the weird exchange between an advice columnist and the listeners is that you're kind of not replying to one person. You're trying to write something where lots of people can be invited into the situation.
Absolutely.
And sort of see themselves in it. And, the average reader needs a takeaway as well. It's not just let me just tend to this one person.
Course.
But when people read it, they do feel individually tended to. And so that disconnect there of me knowing what I was doing versus how someone felt about it. For a while, that took me a little bit to reconcile, because I think I talk about it in the Substack piece you mentioned, but I'm an anxious person.
Yes.
And I have historically used being helpful as a way to sort of cover up the anxiety. So I just want to give people what they want when they want it. So if you want help, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, how can I help you?
Yeah.
And so when you have someone thanking you for something that you feel like you didn't actually do,
Right.
it starts to feel like, oh gosh, I'm getting away with it. And it used to make me feel kind of bad. I got over that very quickly. Yeah. So in a way, one way that I grew with the column was sort of overcoming that voice.
Yeah.
And sort of thinking no, I deserve to be here just as much as anyone else does. And if people are getting something out of this that makes them feel good, if they're feeling seen about it, if they feel helped in some way, that's enough. I don't have to. I don't have to jump through all these mental hoops, being but am I being genuine? Am I doing it the right way? I get in my own way a lot with overthinking, and I realized that the strongest columns were ones where I didn't overthink.
Right.
And service can be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are some old timers in the prog that would disagree. They're like, it doesn't count as service if you like it. It's just okay, dude. I have to kind of like it to want to do it. But with advice specifically, and what you have been thanked for, and what we hear from listeners is just hey man, thank you. And it's just dude, we're just offering like one perspective. I'm glad that it's on the table. And what's also interesting, and I'm wondering from like your experience, do you ever like, because this has happened for me, like you answer a question and then like 2-3 weeks later, that exact question comes up in your own life. And you're just like, oh shit, like I just answered this. What did I tell everybody? Because I need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I don't think I've ever really taken my own advice. It's almost like the advice lives over here,
Right?
And I'm over here.
Yeah.
And the advice I give as a friend was very different from the kind that I would give as Hola Papi, because I feel like with Hola Papi, again, like there was so much in that voice that I used to write the column with that just held its own logics and that held its own conclusions for things. It was a more confident voice.
Right.
It was kind of, I almost want to say cartoony. Like he was a little bit exaggerated. There was still a lot of kindness, but like the jokes and like the humor was really dialed up, and he was a character.
Right.
And so it was easy for me to just like channel that. So,
well, it's interesting. So one of the things I wanted to ask you about is confidence, because you present so confident, and you know, I mean, we always talk about, you know, confidence is sexy, and that there's and you are obviously so sexy, and so there's but there is an element sometimes of like fake it till you make it, right? And so you say in this Substack piece, I hope you don't mind me quoting this, but like, I'm a freak with crippling anxiety who's historically lacked faith in his weirdness. Which is so at odds with like the person sitting here in front of me who is like so confident and sexy and all of that. And so, yeah, I'd love to hear you talk about like, it's just interesting to me to hear you say that like this character was more confident, but that you see that as a separate character.
Yeah, I think I'm a trembling chihuahua inside. Like I'm just like constantly like going like this.
Right.
My eyes are just like really huge. I don't know. It's really something that
is shocking. I'm going to interrupt you. Like that is shocking to hear.
That's funny.
I mean, our interaction is only like an hour long, but like that is not my perception.
Well, good.
So like, great job.
Yeah. It's like a lot of it is internal, you know? And, you know, people will say like, oh, it's all in your head, but that's where the only real things are. Like everything is in your head all the time. And I think
oh my God, that's where the only real things are.
Like that's where it all is. As a matter of fact, that's where the lipids of my brain are making it all happen, you know? So that's where like the struggle is.
You're like, feelings are facts, bitch.
Right. Yeah. I think over time I've gotten a lot better at just like, I'm doing something over here in my like kind of wild psychodramas happening over here, but in terms of like fake it till you make it, yeah, it is, because at some point you do just have to sit yourself down and be like, you're gonna die. Like you don't have to do all this. Like, who is all this for? You can just lately I've been really interested in this idea of trying to live more intentionally and try to do things that without overthinking them to death, and just saying, if you're gonna do it, you know? And it's really helped my writing out a lot, because I talk about in the essay too, but I used to write thinking already about what the backlash on Twitter would look like, and how bringing those other voices, those imagined voices, by the way, no one had ever like yelled at me even, but I was yelling at myself using like the shadow puppets of other people. And I was just thinking like, is this going to read right? Are they going to screenshot this? Are they going to yell at me for that? And if you can't even practice confidence on a Google Doc where you're the only soul, like that's a problem. You're inviting a lot of negativity into something that should be nourishing you and that should feel fun. And so trying not to spoil my own fun these days is sort of where my head is at. And Hola Papi was fun. Like
I love that, because like you revisit a lot of like hard moments for you.
Yeah.
There's a couple particularly dark moments, but even those that are less so are still this goes in and out of various like challenges that you face. So I'm glad to hear that it was a fun experience. But I'm also curious, you know, who you are now versus who you were when you wrote the book.
Yeah, I mean, I was so overwhelmed when I wrote that book.
Yeah,
I really was, because first of all, writing a book had been my dream.
Yeah,
like, I do consider myself, before anything else, a writer. And so the idea of having a book published, the idea of people reading my stuff, like I don't think, and still I try to remind myself every day how hallucinogenic it is of a drug that anyone wants to read me at all. Because I just remember being in I remember I was in high school and I started a WordPress. And I was just truly writing to
so
two
of a
people,
time.
Yeah. And it was probably just bots, 3 bots probably followed me and maybe 2 real people. And I remember I saw this WordPress was do you want to turn on advertising for your blog? And you would get pennies or something if people clicked on it. And of course I was no, because no one's reading it. But in my head I was wow, people out there get read and then they monetize the writing. That's wild. And so yeah, even just having people willing to go out of their way, because I read things. I know what it takes to go out of my way to read something.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot.
Yeah.
For me to sit down, take my time, open up someone's essay or book and actually pay attention to it. That is just such a sacred thing to me.
Yeah.
And so the fact that people do that to me, and I sometimes take it for granted, I do have to remind myself, this is great. And so to answer your question, I just felt wow, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
I can't believe that something I did worked out in this way. Wow, one of the zany schemes kind of worked out. But at the same time, I hadn't quite embraced what made me special yet. I think that there's a lot of good writing in that book. I think it's
incredible
me
writing in that book.
Figuring things out still. It's me negotiating between well, here's what I want to do, but here's how it should be versus here's what someone told me to do. And I can see it. I struggle to revisit that book sometimes because I can see sometimes I can see social media's voice chiming in, and sometimes I can see where I didn't trust myself enough, and I can now, which is great. But yeah, back then it all just felt I was so ready to negotiate on so many different things that I just would never negotiate on now.
Right.
And so in a way, it makes me feel proud to look back and be we grew.
That's
we
amazing.
Figured things out.
And you have 2 books you're working on now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What can you tell us?
Yeah. So one is it's with FSG, and it is a half illustrated, half written YA novel.
Okay.
I'm illustrating and writing it.
Oh, amazing.
Which is why it's taking so long. But I did manage to turn in the first draft last month.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you. It took forever. But yeah, so it's called, I don't know if you had these growing up, but those seeds that fall from maple trees? They have wings kind of and they twirl. What you call them?
Pinwheels, I think, right?
Pinwheels? I've heard pinwheels.
I cannot picture this.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so how would you describe? They're little winged seeds, basically.
Yeah.
If you saw a picture of one, you're probably oh, those things.
Right.
Call them maple keys sometimes. Whirlybirds, I've heard.
Yeah.
Helicopters. Yeah.
Yes, I think my kids call them helicopters.
Yeah, so my book is about...
I also grew up in a junkyard, so I didn't see a tree until I moved to Brooklyn.
No greenery, no leaves.
I'm going to have to investigate this. I have no idea what we're talking about.
I think I'll show you a picture of one and you'll be oh, okay, right. But this book is about this kid who kind of struggles to express himself. He likes writing, he likes drawing, but he can't really find the right words when it comes to talking to people. And it's sort of about this love story he has where he's in middle school, he's very shy, but this new kid comes into town because a tornado hits the area. And it kind of ruins this kid's house, but he has to move into the school district with him and kind of brings him out of his shell. But then he moves away. And they don't meet again until after they right when they're about to graduate high school. So it's about this love story that happens because of a tornado. And the central metaphor motif of the thing is a maple key. So the title of the book is Samara, which is the fancy word for those things.
Okay.
And so because the book is all about him just constantly trying to find this better word for something, the really pretty word eventually finds him. But
amazing.
Yeah, it's about the wind. It's about being willing to go where life takes you and not worrying about it so much because he's a really high anxiety person. And yeah, I'm very, very excited. I have to draw those things a lot.
Yes. Are these them?
Yes, those are them.
Okay.
Have you seen those?
I'm did I have a childhood? Did I just land on this earth at 35? I don't know why that is so strikingly unfamiliar to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're around here.
Not even
They
to
are.
be difficult.
No,
I love that.
We have them. Our kids know them.
No, but we had, I feel like we had normal things. Like I know what a lightning bug is, or like a crab apple.
I don't know what a crab apple is, but
or a buckeye.
I had to grow up.
What's a
for
buckeye?
It is I'm from Ohio. It's actually the state tree.
I
It's
thought it
also
was
called ojo de venado because it looks like an actual buck's eye. It's a poisonous nut, but they do make a treat out of it of chocolate and peanut butter.
Yeah, I was going to say it's Ohio's Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. That's what I know a buckeye to be. But we are off on
We're
a tangent.
so far afield.
And then your other book?
Oh, so my other book, it's sort of this unhinged Western.
Okay.
It's called Reverse Cowboy.
Okay.
And it is, I don't know if you, have y'all read Don Quixote before?
I mean, I've
No.
not read it. I know.
I know the score of Man of La Mancha.
I was going to say the same thing. I know the Broadway musical inspired by Don Quixote.
Well, Don Quixote, I was so bored often in Oklahoma because I was there for like 4 months and I was in the car a lot. And so I was like, I'll finally give audiobooks a try.
Yeah.
I like holding a book, but I just got tired of listening to my same few albums over and over again. So I listened to Don Quixote and it is way funnier, way more contemporary than anyone ever told me. Like, yeah, it is like the birth of like the modern novel, but I didn't know how modern it was. It's like an extended 30 Rock skit over like a book that's like this fat. But the main idea of Don Quixote is there's this guy who reads a bunch of literature about knights, and then so much literature that he loses his mind and declares himself a knight in a Spain that no longer has knights. And so it's just all the wacky hijinks he gets into because he's like, I'm a knight. And everyone has to be like, no, you're not. Or like they have to kind of entertain him in some way because they're afraid they'll get stabbed. You know, it's like he's not the picture of mental health. But I was working on this nonfiction essay collection about cowboys and it just was not working. It just felt like homework. And it felt like the least cowboy thing in the world to me was to like write this kind of academic ethnography of the cowboy. And I was thinking of ways where I could say the spirit of what I'm trying to say in a fun way that was more embodied and like really brought someone along for the ride.
Yeah.
And I was like, what if Don Quixote, but it's like instead of Spain and knights, it's America and cowboys. And so I'm using it like I'm my own character in it. I'm like researching and reading all these books about cowboys, trying to learn about the cowboys. And then I get hit in the head by a horse's hoof and I go crazy and I declare myself a cowboy.
I love that.
So the book is just about this like gay man from rural Oklahoma who lives in Brooklyn who kind of goes crazy and declares himself a cowboy. And it's a way to sort of explore the mythology of this country and what freedom is and what the cowboy is. And yeah, I'm very excited about it.
I mean, also that guy is a
about
very regular passenger on the Q train. Like he's here.
Yeah, they exist. Yes.
So there's something else you write in this book that really spoke to me as somebody who does what we have been doing. And it comes in a pretty dark moment for you. You say years upon years of sharing and oversharing my thoughts, my pictures, my words I didn't necessarily agree with anymore, which is something we find too, that, you know, some things we say on the podcast might not ring true for us, you know, weeks, months, years later. Words I had maybe only written to me to quota or get a paycheck. I felt naked, like I'd given too much of myself, a bad self away. My thoughts and ideas had been landing with people who would then go on to construct their own version of me in their minds. To this person, perhaps I was dumb. To that person, perhaps I was inconsiderate. Whatever it was, I had no control. I'd given some of the worst people alive thousands of openings to hurt me. I was a sitting duck bobbing at the surface of a shark tank. And I mean, we were just talking about this on our previous segment that I posted a clip of a story I was telling about a hookup I had. Took the family recently on a Disney cruise. My husband cleared the kids out of the room and they hung out so that I could have some time with the room, and then we switched off. And while I was hooking up, I spilled some poppers, and I told this story about like, oh my God, having to clean up the poppers so that it didn't affect my kids. And people really came after me for this story.
I thought it was funny.
And by the way, like, my husband found, my husband didn't have an issue with it, and anybody who matters to me in my life didn't have an issue with it. And I try to stay out of the comments as much as possible. You mentioned right around that same section, somebody saying like, get this person off my feed. And we've gotten that a lot too. Like, why do these people keep showing up? And I always think like, well, if you weren't commenting, then we wouldn't keep showing up on your feed. But as a former advice columnist, do you have any advice for us for this feeling of like, because we share so much, and then there's this assumption that, this person, when really there's so much more to us than comes out in these hour-long conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that social media is a place where it just sort of provides people with images with which they try to use those images to contain things that make them unhappy. So it's like they're already not having a great day. They're already feeling bad. I mean, people bring all their darkness to social media, of course.
Yeah.
And so I think that we're constantly looking for something to be frustrated at because that feels productive. So if we can give our frustration a face, even a temporary face, and then yell at it and sort of get our catharsis out by saying incendiary things to it, it feels like a release. It's not that, but it feels that way. And so I think one thing I struggled with in the past when I wrote that was like, I didn't know that social media wasn't real, if that makes any sense. Because I nowadays don't think it is. I see it more. And by that, I mean, yes, obviously social media is real, but the thing, it's a platform. It's a tech platform. And the things that happen inside of it aren't things I have to take seriously. So I was just so afraid of people on the internet saying bad things about me.
Yeah.
And when I think about what I was actually afraid of, I think I was more afraid that they were going to say something I already agreed with and that it was something that I didn't like about myself.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much like, oh, this person doesn't like me. Who is this person?
Right.
I'll never know.
Right.
This person will always be an account to me, a profile picture, sequence of words. This is back when like text-based social media was the thing. I don't know if it's still the same way with people like yelling at each other on TikTok. I'm sure that happens. Like, imagine.
Yes. Oh my God. The comments.
Like a TikTok.
They lose the thread so quickly. It's really fascinating, actually.
Yeah, I just think that whatever's happening on social media is a reality. But I was incorporating that reality into the reality.
Yeah.
And it just felt so present. It felt so real. It gave me fight or flight.
Yeah.
It just felt like the most important thing in the world, that all these strangers, the hive mind, kind of approves of me and doesn't seek me out and isn't trying to hurt me. And now I guess I grew up a bit, but also I just started seeing these platforms in different ways. I started seeing them more as addictive products, that things are going on in the nuts and bolts of those things that are completely divorced from the voices that you're interacting with. Like, these are kind of ghosts. These are kind of illusions. And I had to be able to see that. And seeing that is hard when you are in your mid-20s in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And it feels like,
it's hard in your early 50s in Brooklyn, too.
This cool person's being mean to me.
Yeah.
And it feels like high school.
Yeah.
And it puts you back in those shoes. But yeah, nowadays, I don't think that there's not truly a whole lot anyone can say on the internet that would really make me freak out. At least not in the way that it used to.
I love the assumption that they're cool. Like, why? Like, why am I giving you that power?
I think it's because
I'm fucking cool.
Exactly. It's like,
I'm cool, dude.
Your brain is like kind of trying to inflict maximum damage on you.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I was always like arranging these really elaborate backstories for these profiles, being like, oh, they're probably like have really great taste and they probably know more slang than I do. And they, you know what I mean? Like, assuming all these wild things. And those assumptions did nothing except
they moved into Williamsburg when it was still cool.
Right.
Yeah, whatever.
Like, they know something I don't.
Yeah.
They know something I don't. And if they know something I don't, then they're more qualified to speak about me than I am about myself. That was the fear. But it's just like, it's the fear of finding an avatar to like hurt you with, because fear wants to be as big as it can possibly be. And so if you're on social media and you're already anxious, that's exactly what your fear is going to do. It's going to find some profile, it's going to find some comment, and it's going to say like, boo, here I am, and learning how to quiet that down. And also just to log off. That was something I didn't know how to do back then.
Oh, just like walk away.
Yeah.
I love the take. Well, two things. One is a complete thought that I just want to buttress with support. I'm afraid that I'm going to agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And also, frustration feels productive. Not a complete thought, but I'm going to keep going with this one. I think that's why like work in the corporate world is the way that it is. Mm. I think people create a lot of frustration around the process to make it feel like we're doing a lot of big things. And it's like, dude, this would have taken 2 hours. And now this is a 2-month-long project. Come on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
I'll revisit that in my bed tonight. But those are my two. Those are my two.
I grew up Catholic, so this is all very familiar to me. It's like, let's just to go through something arduous. It sometimes feels like, okay, that's what makes it worth it. And it's just like,
well, I even just like simply for Brian, I'm like, there's nothing that I can say that's going to make you feel differently. But like, I often think like, look at the comments like versus the hearts. There are so many people that liked it and then just moved on with their day. Versus like
that's what my husband tells me, and I do stay out of the comments, but they do get pushed to me now and again. And like that particular one or those particular ones on that video, like telling me I'm disgusting, telling me like I ignore my children to find dick. Yeah.
When's the last time? If you think about it, though, like when's the last time that someone like publicly, like pre-podcast, pre-book sales, like came up to you and was just like your ex terrible thing,
right?
Like when, other than middle school, you know what I mean? Like that's just not. People might vent their frustrations if you like spill your coffee like near their computer, but no one just walks up to you and is like, "You're garbage."
No, but they will on the internet.
Like, I would almost welcome that in my adult life because I think that would be interesting.
Oh, I would love to see how it unfolded.
Yeah, like I would be like very curious about that. I'd be like, "Oh,
I'd be like,
we're doing this.
Are you in love with me?"
Right. So just to come full circle before we take a break and come back and ask you about your daddy issue. So we're airing mid-April. So in February, you posted on Substack that you are officially retiring the Hola Papi advice column. And so we've put that chapter to bed. And so now it's about the books. Feel like you've given the advice you're going to give.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me, like I said before, it allowed me to like Hola Papi again.
Nice.
Like I now feel such warmth for it.
Yeah.
I feel so happy that it happened. And I think because I hadn't written one in so long anyway. So the fact that it was just still there just felt like this chore that I hadn't attended to. And it's just like, I don't know, like, well, what if maybe one day I want to, and still like, I'm not against doing it in the future at some point.
Right.
But it just felt like
everybody loves a comeback.
Yeah.
Look at the content anymore.
The sequel.
Everything's a comeback right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like the live action remake, Hola Papi. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, shall we take a quick
Hola
break?
Papi, the metaverse. Yeah, let's take a break.
All right, we'll be right back.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Hey listeners, welcome back to Dads and Daddies, the podcast. We are here with John Paul Brammer, and we've got a question for you. What is your daddy issue?
So I'm going all the way to the top with this one.
Sky Daddy.
Sky Daddy, yes. Yeah, Jesus. It is Jesus. Because I find myself in such a Jesus rabbit hole right now. I'm reading a lot. I'm watching a lot of YouTube videos. I've never visited the subject of Jesus this much since Catholic school.
Okay.
And it's fascinating. I'm fascinated. And I don't know how to feel about how fascinated I am, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is fascinating you?
So one thing I read a few days ago that really blew my mind. There's this great Substack. It's called Behind the Gospels, and I really enjoy his writing. But the basic subject of this Substack is: was Jesus mid? Was he just not hot?
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess I just never thought of that.
I mean, all the physical depictions say otherwise,
right.
But yeah, he could be gross.
Yeah, I remember in Catholic school, we went to Mass every Wednesday, and there was a huge crucifix in our basilica, massive. And of course, I'm just looking at it, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, he's so toned,
right, right,
he's so pretty,
right.
And of course, a lot of people have that idea of the Jesus that shows up in Western art, et cetera, et cetera. Like a lot of people think of that. But this was like a really fun article that was just talking about all the evidence we have that he was just like really like not good looking, like really normal, plain looking. Like he, we wouldn't know him by his beauty, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just like, that really moved me in a weird way because I was like, you know, part of like being gay in New York City, the way people look, I feel like we talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
We talk about our problems with it. We talk about what it feels like to be held to certain standards. It feels like a perennial, like, you know, as a former advice columnist, I was getting letters all the time just being like, I feel ugly or I feel like I'm not attractive enough to make new friends even, not even just have a relationship, but just even to like, for people to notice me.
Yeah.
And then there's this essay saying the holiest of holies was like,
the most famous person. Like Jesus is the most famous person.
Yeah, like I can't help but feel like touched by that.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow, okay. But it's been a lot of stuff like that, just looking into things and like uncovering, because it was a subject that I always, ever since I left Oklahoma, really, even before that, I was just like, I'm done hearing about Jesus.
Right.
For a good long time.
Were you unable to uncover, I mean, and this is probably like a fairly complex answer, but like, how'd that bitch get so big?
Yes.
Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
A lot of it is St. Paul, honestly.
Okay. Like, if you were just like a regular, degular dude, like, how are you so fucking famous now?
Right. Well, I think, I mean, yeah, there's like a million answers for that, obviously. But I think that the branding, for lack of a better word, around Christianity is actually quite good because you've got...
Oh, it's
like,
very strong.
Yeah. I mean, you've got this like humble servant God, you know, and like that's such an interesting technology on its own because, you know, gods are supposed to be big and strong and Thor kind of, and you've got this like very humble man saying that like he sacrificed himself, you know, like it's emotional, obviously. And I think that in the context, I'm kind of going off on my own little like things I've been reading lately, but I think that he was kind of destined to be just a Jewish figure, you know, and like a messianic tradition, but it was kind of St. Paul that started with his freaky visions and was like kind of hopped in like the American used car salesman. It was just like, I'm gonna make this sexy, you know, and it just became much bigger than that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So after years of avoiding the topic, what turned you around and made you want to pursue this topic so much?
What was it? I mean, I was already just like looking for something to apply my brain to because I need a new subject every once in a while.
Right.
Or I need something to just make my whole personality, and I need like a theme around like what I'm reading about, what I'm talking about, et cetera, et cetera. And
you don't watch Bravo?
No.
Have you tried origami?
I'm scared of what I would look like on origami. Because here's the thing.
It's my new personality.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I would try origami. This is why I'm so hesitant to try anything. Because I have a very addictive brain. And so it just turns into a whole mess. And sometimes it becomes about something that I don't even like that much. And that's not even good for me. But I'm just like, I can't stop fiddling with it. But I think that what made my brain kind of more open to it, of all things, was Rosalia's new album. I don't know if you listened or are
Rosalia's new album drew you back to Jesus.
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Well, because like that album, it's a lot of the research behind it that she was about mystics. And so the mystics were very different, or are very different, I guess, from the Christianity I was raised with. These are the people who were like, I just saw a vision. These are people like seeking a direct connection through often taboo methods to connect to something bigger than themselves. And so I just needed like to be shown the freaks. Like I kind of needed to be shown the misfits, the weirdos, the ones who were just like having these cosmic visions of something that just they couldn't articulate in the correct way. So they're just like ranting and raving, you know. I needed those people. And if I had been introduced to those people before I was introduced to all this boring stuff, maybe it would have like taken a stronger hold on me. You know?
Yeah, and that framing Christianity is kind of like punk as fuck.
Yeah. Well, I like too
the original Christians were fucking freaks.
Yeah. And I like too that like the mystics in a way kind of transcend denomination. Like, you know, you've got like the Sufis and you've got the Christian mystics and you've got the you got mystics in Buddhism, and so they all start to say things that kind of line up in a way. There's lots of overlapping points, and so I like esoteric stuff. I really like occult stuff. I'm not a believer in like magic or anything like that, but I love looking at the traditions that people would do to make sense of the world that we would see today as like, that was weird. Like, why were they doing that? Because I'm nosy.
Wait, you don't believe in magic?
I don't really.
Oh. Awkward.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on.
What about ghosts?
Oh, well, I mean, I always say that like I believe in unexplained phenomena. Obviously that's what magic is to us.
Yeah.
Because it's like if like an alien showed up and started using technology that we didn't understand, we would think that's magic. And so when we don't understand something, I think magic is just the thing that we use to be like, well, that's what's going on.
I mean, my whole take, and we're about to lose 75% of our listeners with this.
I'm ready.
115 billion people have walked this earth. 115 billion. Currently like 8.3. You mean to tell me that like every single one of them is just like gone? Like gone? That's it. That's all it is for me.
Well, okay. I would love to know what is your most woo-woo belief?
Probably that.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. That to me...
And the power of crystals.
I don't know. I think there's ways around.
Brian's not a woo-woo kind of guy.
Yeah.
There can only be one witch in a podcast, and it's me.
Unless it is a witch podcast. I mean, I believe very strongly, and this has offended some listeners who have reached out about it, that everything happens for a reason, and that I don't consider myself a religious or observant person, but I do feel myself very culturally Jewish. But what I do feel is that I have a very real relationship with God, and that I live a blessed life, and that that comforts me in times of unease or uncertainty. That I do believe everything happens for a reason. I do believe I live a very blessed life, and that God is with me. And I've recently added, because that's kind of a mantra of mine, I've recently added like, so why are you worried?
Why are you worried?
Yeah.
My whole take on that is the why are you worried for me. I told Brian before we recorded today that Gemini told me if I keep saving at my current savings rate, when I'm 75, I'll have $3.2 million, which is like incredible. And I don't believe it because I don't have any money right now. Like I asked Gemini, I was like, hey, how am I doing compared to like the average 42-year-old? And it was like, not good, honey. Like I could hear the voice. But now knowing that, I'm like, so what's the problem? So what's the problem? In 40 years, I'm going to be a trillionaire.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, I think that's different than a 3 millionaire. Did you get it?
I think it is.
Math is my weakest subject, so I'm just going to have no choice but to be like, that sounds right.
Yeah, compound interest.
Yeah.
Great. Compound interest is magic.
I mean, to me, yes.
I will say that's the first time that someone has raised Jesus as their daddy issue.
Oh wow! Really?
I love it. Yeah,
I do too.
I love it.
I would think that he would be a lot of people's daddy issue.
Yeah, I grew up evangelical in a Assembly of God.
Wow.
Yeah, real shit.
Was that?
I speak Spanish, English, and Serpent.
Ooh, I was about to ask. Was there any tongues?
Oh yeah, but like let me break down tongues for you really quickly. If you are 10 years old and you see another 10-year-old filled with the Spirit of Christ speaking in tongues, you just make it up because you want to fit in.
I would do that today.
Is tongues.
Like if I was in a group setting and like my bestie was doing it, I would be like, I want to do it and also do it better.
Yeah. There's a part of it being the best little boy where you're like, I'm also filled with the Spirit.
That would work
and
on me now.
Crushing.
You're kidding. I mean, it must feel really good.
Yeah. Because I think there is a point where you do let go, and even if you're working at it at the beginning, I think you do let go, and something does take over. The same way we can lose ourselves in like at a fun concert or on a roller coaster or in a hot yoga class. Like there's got to be some relief in it.
Having sex.
Or sex, yeah. Sorry, I forgot that one.
Like,
You're like, are you gonna?
That's the closest parallel.
Yeah, I feel like we're in a race to figure out like who's gonna invent not church. You know,
Right.
Like I think we all do want to just be in this like really beautiful cavernous temple doing fun stuff together.
Yeah,
And it brings us community and meaning.
Yeah, and we should get cracking on that.
and helping the poor.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, helping the poor in a beautiful space and like making things. Yes, that right there is Shangri-La.
It must be like if I was an actual like religious person. When I say religious, I mean like I attend mass like twice a week somewhere. My dating pool would be like there. Like I would know,
Right.
Like, okay, these are the people that I'm supposed to like marry.
When I
hang out
first
with.
moved to New York, I found the gay synagogue, and that became my social circle. My first boyfriend I met there. He's now a rabbi. So yeah, I mean, very much that.
There are somehow, some way, gay affirming Catholic churches here, and I want to go and see what's going on because I haven't set foot in a very long time. And like I said, I'm nosy.
I have a couple friends involved with the gay affirming Catholic Church.
Really?
Yeah.
I really want to know what that looks like. I want to see it. I'm very curious about these things. I looked up the other day. There's like this coffee shop in the city of Mecca that I really want to go to, but like you can't go in unless you're Muslim,
Mm-hmm.
and that's driving me nuts. I'm like, would I convert?
So what's the
just to,
hook?
like-
What's the angle? How are we going to get you there?
I need to convert.
Is this going to be like Bugs Bunny and drag?
Yeah, a little bit. I actually almost converted one time a few years ago because I was dating this Jewish guy.
To Islam?
No.
Sorry, I asked the question before that sentence.
That would be funny though. What
Okay.
if like I was dating this Jewish guy, my internal logic was just like, so guess what? Guess what
You almost converted to Judaism.
Yeah,
but that's not easy.
it was so much work.
Do you know how easy it is to become a Christian?
Yeah, comparatively. Oh my god.
All you have to say is, I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of our Lord. I'm a Christian. And there you go.
Yeah.
Like I am accidentally a Christian now.
Wait, I'm so curious about your
Yeah.
almost conversion to Judaism. I mean, that is an intense, even thought process.
Yes.
That you're going to consider this. Tell us about this
For a
situation you were in.
boy?
Yeah, at the time I just thought it was so cool. Like, oh my god, I'm gonna convert for my man. Like that's gonna be fun.
Right.
But
It is kind of hot.
yeah.
It is kind of hot to convert for
bit.
your man.
Yeah, and also, I was like, well, like Judaism, I don't associate it with like the intellectual strictness of like, if I was converting to like evangelical Christian, I'd be like, no,
Right.
absolutely not.
Right.
But I feel like I could like live my life
Right.
as a Jewish
Yes.
person.
Yes.
But, no, he was sort of this like malevolent, evil, dumb guy that had nothing to do with him being Jewish. But I was thinking about it.
Wait. How long were you with this malevolent, evil, dumb guy that you were going to consider converting?
like 2 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
you didn't, the realization of the malevolence and the evil and the dumbness came towards the end?
It emerged.
It
Yeah.
emerged, yeah.
It emerged, but he also just, I don't think, took it as seriously as he was claiming to, because he didn't observe many of the traditions.
Right.
I think that was just like something he just threw out there, like, oh, would you be willing to convert? And I was like, at first I was like, no.
Right.
And later I was like, that'd be kind of cool. And then I looked it up and I was like, this looks hard.
Yeah, my husband refuses.
My husband refuses. He's like, don't. Early in our relationship, he's Jewish. I'm not, obviously. Early in our relationship, he was like, don't even think about converting. Like, be your own person.
Whoa.
Like, I don't want someone who's trying to convert
Okay,
to
so
Judaism.
Bruce is a better person than I am. Not that I ever asked.
You
or
want Toby to be-
No. But like,
Deep down, you want Toby to
No.
convert.
but it wouldn't. I don't know. I just wouldn't have thought to say don't. But I mean, he's, for all intents and purposes, he is. I mean, like, we have this event that happens at the kids' school every year where each culture presents like food. It's like we used to call it a cultural potluck until somebody told us that was not okay to call it that. I'm not really sure the reasoning, but we were part of the Jewish room, and for our family, it was my husband who did all the cooking. Last year, he made a matzo ball soup. The year before that, he used my mother's noodle kugel recipe. So, we're raising the kids Jewish.
I've heard his Baruch Atah Adonai.
Yeah, he knows the prayers, so he
he's
might as
got
well
it.
be. Yeah.
He's got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hot.
Yeah.
When he knows the prayers, it's hot. But no, I don't need him to convert.
And also, like, I already had this background of, like, because my mom is, like, Mexican Catholic. And
Right.
my dad is, like, barely Methodist, like,
Right.
name only. And so I did have this moment in high school where my mom was like, so you should choose, you should pick. So I already knew, like, in my mind, religion was this just sort of like video game character customization thing where it was just like, I don't know, like, I want the outfit. Or
Right,
like,
right.
know, so that's why I became Catholic, because I was just like, it looks cooler.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Now, I'd already gone to Catholic school and I was feeling very Mexican at the time. So I was just like, okay, we're doing this. And then I went to like confirmation and all that, which was hard, actually.
Right. You were in an expedited confirmation
for
class.
the elderly and the dying, yeah. For reasons they never told me why. Yeah, that was odd. And my sponsor died the night before I was supposed to be confirmed. Because, you know, like the sponsor is the person who's supposed to like walk up and like press their hand to your back while you're getting confirmed. They're like,
oh, I don't know any of this.
Well, yeah, so you have like a sponsor, and it's someone who's already in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're getting confirmed, they're supposed to like come up and like hold their hand against you. And mine died. And so it was like, I didn't know her, you know, rest in peace. And then during my confirmation, the moment I got confirmed, a mole on my grandmother's face exploded. Like it just went, and there was just this like black stuff all over her cheek. And she like looked at me and she was just like, this is bad.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Have you thought about writing screenplays? I mean, that feels like such a cinematic moment.
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, it is. At the time, I was just like, well, this is going poorly. My little event, you know. But to this day, I mean, there's this lovely picture of me getting confirmed with like the oil on my forehead.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did you see Veneno on HBO?
Yeah.
The scene where he cuts the prayer garment into a skirt and comes into the church is one of the best like 30 seconds in television in the last 10 years.
Agreed.
That's you.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's what it felt like. Yeah.
So I'm going to make a 180 here. So in the book, you take us in and out of various relationships or quasi-relationships. You just mentioned it to your relationship with a malevolent, evil, dumb person. And you gave advice via Grindr and then subsequently elsewhere to people looking for love. How's your love life?
It has its ups and downs, I will say. Not going so great at the moment. And I'm kind of all right with that.
Yeah.
I am sort of I won't say a strange person, but like I'm very particular.
Sure.
And when my life is just like kind of where I want it to be, I feel like, okay, no one mess anything up.
I get that.
And I've had relationships where everything got messed up by virtue of like having this new presence in my life.
Totally.
Yeah. And so I think I'm still I am freshly recovered from that horrible relationship I had. And I am out there. And I do want it in my life for sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I learned that I can't really beat myself up over it. And if I make it such a priority, I have this tendency to deprioritize myself. And that ends up leading to less healthy relationships. So it sucks for me because the person that I am, when I want something, I just want to tinker with it until it happens. And I just want to like throw myself at it until something works. And I found that when I take that approach to romantic relationships, it just translates into me trying too hard to make something work when it shouldn't. And it's not something that works for me. But I just I can be very good at convincing myself, you know?
Yeah.
And so building against that, I've taken a little break and I'm trying to be more discerning is the wrong word. I'm just trying to let it feel right if it feels right and trust myself if it feels wrong.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, that can
Go
be hard
with
in
your
New York.
gut. Go with your gut. Like when we, if there were mantras that we just had to simplify most of our advice into, it's like, go with your gut. And you're absolutely right. Like another person intrinsically throws off the fucking vibe.
Yeah.
Like it's just, it happens.
Well, I'm just such a creature of habit. And, like I said earlier, I have my mind just gets obsessed with stuff. And so in the past, I have had like, oh my God, it's happening. I really like this person. And I freak out and I think about them a lot.
Right.
And I just like tend to take it overboard. And so knowing that and wanting to make sure that I don't have that in my system when I meet the right person. I'm just doing my best to make sure that I'm in a very healthy place when I meet people. But yeah, that, and I guess like,
or you'll be equally obsessed with each other. That's an option too.
The thing is, like, I do know when it's right because I have felt genuine chemistry with someone before. Like, I know that with this last person, so much of it was me talking myself into things, talking myself into feelings.
Right.
It's like, oh, but he's great. Oh, but no, like, he's actually like a really nice,
Right.
This voice that's just constantly trying to paper over things that
I was in that
wrong.
relationship once.
Yeah. And yet I also know what it's like when things feel easy with someone.
Right.
And I feel so secure. And like, friendship wise, like I have a few friends in my life where I'm just like, I just know this person. Like I don't even have to try with this person. I can just let them see any like good, bad, weird, ugly, wonderful part of me. And I just know that they'll be able to metabolize it, So I know what that's like. And I just need to find that in a romantic context and not just a platonic one. But that's where we're at.
I love that.
I think you're going to meet him at Church Not Church.
That'd be funny.
Let's get that shit started so we can.
I mean, it would be funny if I just like go to church for the first time in several years and immediately find a husband. Like,
Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason.
So it feels awkward to ask somebody who has formally retired their advice column to help us give advice.
Yeah.
But you okay to hang out and,
Yes, of course.
help us answer a Go Ask Your Dad question?
Yes.
Before we do that, please tell our listeners where they can find you, how they can follow you.
Yeah, you can find me on Substack where I am John Paul Brammer.substack.com. I haven't given myself a fun little drag name yet for my Substack because it was Hola Papi.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I'll just make it myself and then we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But, I haven't decided on it yet. So also if you
brand yourself, it's good.
Yeah.
No, I think,
here's my question for any advice givers out there. What should I name my Substack? Because I need a little fun little something.
Right. Do you?
I just want to put a wig on it. Like I have
Right,
gay urge.
Yeah.
The gay urge to just put a wig on something. And just like, I just want to see it be dressed up.
I'm not sharp enough to throw something that I love at it in this context, but I will think about it.
Yeah,
I will think about it.
It'll show up.
And are you truly moving into restaurant reviews, or is that just a?
It's funny. Like I've written about food before. But I've never like reviewed a restaurant until that piece.
Yes.
That Substack is truly me. This is the problem. One thing that makes it difficult to name is that I just sort of write whatever I'm feeling that day.
Right.
Or whatever's interesting me. And there's not always a connective thread between them except me, John Paul Brammer. So that's why it's like John Paul Brammer.
So maybe that is the appropriate name.
Maybe it is. Yeah. Maybe that's my persona.
Yeah. I think you got very comfortable, like you were describing. Hola Papi became this character, and maybe now it's time for there not to be a character.
Yeah, maybe I'm gonna Sasha Velour it and just take my wig off and be bald.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's take another quick break, and we'll come back with Go Ask Your Dad.
Great.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Hey listeners, welcome back to Dads and Daddies. We have arrived at Go Ask Your Dad, the segment of the show where we address listener-submitted questions. Disclaimer. Well, 2 out of 3 are not professional advice givers. But Brian and I are not lawyers. We are not financial planners. We are not medical or psychiatric health professionals. We just respond to your questions with our life experience.
Yes, to submit a Go Ask Your Dad question, please email us at dadsandaddies@gmail.com. Voice memos do turn us on the most. And Judson is going to read us this week's question.
On one episode of Dads and Daddies, you both spoke about how friends can at times judge us when we bring a hookup home to do the deed. You talked about how it shouldn't be a problem, but you felt judged by the other members in the house as you went upstairs for your fun. I get why you felt judged, but it was lost to me if you at least understood why those other guests were judging you. Do you feel anytime you're in this situation, it's okay to just separate from your friends because of how horny you feel? I'm not trying to judge in this question either. Tone is lost in text. But I feel that it can be rude to be hanging with friends and then tell them, okay, I need sex, so I'm bringing this random fella to the house for a shag, BBS. So I guess my question overall is, why does it feel like both sides feel judged at any moment in hookup culture? How has hookup culture gotten to the point that it's so toxic? And where do you think it shifted? I don't recall hookup culture being the way that it is now. I'm not that old, only 43. And I just don't recall things becoming so complicated for no reason. I have many opinions on your podcast, LOL, but I hope I didn't lose you with my questions. Looking forward to hearing from y'all, even if I don't agree with a lot of it. LOL.
That's fine. I'm glad you're still
I
listening.
love that.
They're
Thank you for-
engaged with the material.
Yeah, thank you for
Exactly.
listening.
I want to clarify that the story that they are referring to was specifically in Fire Island, a gay vacation destination where I think that is also kind of designed around groups of people staying together. And in many cases, that group has a common understanding that like sex is part of the fun of that being in that destination, and that it is kind of an agreed upon. It is okay to hook up if and when a hookup presents itself. I don't disagree that if you're at brunch, if you're having like a nice hangout with a friend and all of a sudden like your Grindr chime goes off, which by the way, I don't know if Grindr still chimes. I don't have it on with sound. But that you would just like up and leave. Like, of course that's rude in any situation. Like I get annoyed when I'm at dinner with my mom and her phone rings and she just takes the call because she thinks because it's coming in, it's more important. Like of course that's annoying. But we were speaking of a very specific destination.
Mm-hmm. Also, the housing in these places like Fire Island and Provincetown, the cost dictates the setup, right? Like it is so expensive, you have to break it down into getting 8 people into a house. So then you just make the rules up accordingly. So that was like very specifically vacation. I am remembering a time where I was with my girlfriend, someone who I've known since the 2nd grade, in Asbury Park. We were at the beach together. It was a beach day. We had taken the train out. We were on the beach. Someone hit me up on Scruff, and I was like, hey, girl, real talk. Can I take half an hour to go fuck this guy and come back to the beach? And she was like, bro, I'm about to take a nap. Like, see you in an hour.
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel like if the friend is close enough, you should be able to at least broach the subject. But I'm also not in the practice, because my friendships are very important, of being like, hey guys, thanks for the hang, bye, in the middle of the hang. What I will do is treat the hang with the respect it deserves. Like if we are meeting for brunch, like give that 12 to 3 and then plan a hookup at like 4. But rarely do I find myself in a situation where I'm like, hey, this hang is kind of mid. I'm gonna fucking stead.
My weird take on the whole thing is that I personally don't like having sex on Fire Island, because I am often in a house with like a bunch of other people, and I just love my comfy bed at home. I love having sex in my bed, in my house. Fire Island to me sometimes feels like gay summer camp,
right,
where it's just like we're all like sleeping right on top of each other.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I love subtext. And on Fire Island, it's all text. You know?
Right.
Caps.
But do you judge your friends for like up and bringing somebody in or going off to a hookup?
I did one time, because it was like, in like a Fire Island house, sometimes
there are rules.
Yes. But also like it feels like the social etiquette of it all gets ratcheted up to a 10.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Like this is what I'm saying. Like I only recently found a way to love Fire Island.
Yeah.
Because I started staying with lesbians.
Okay.
And like there's groceries galore. Everything is planned.
Right.
Everything feels very laid back. When I was like in a house with just a bunch of other gay men, like people I love, by the way. It felt surveilled, in a way.
And you
like,
all have to be at dinner.
Yeah,
you
like
all
are you
have
doing,
to go to tea together.
Are you doing enough chores? Are you doing the right chores?
Right.
Are you like, it just felt.
Oh, I know friendships that have like deep friendships that have broken up over living together on Fire Island.
I believe it.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, like the person that you love the most in this world isn't necessarily the person that you want to be a house with in Fire Island.
Right,
like
right,
it's
right.
kind of weird,
right.
the chemistry of it all. But yeah, I just like the reason I didn't like Fire Island for such a long time is that there was just this like courtly paranoia kind of like in the house.
Right.
Where like, I think that bringing someone over becomes a part of that in a way
Right.
where everyone's just like looking like, oh.
Right.
And we, like one time we were like all setting up for dinner and suddenly my friend like slips away to go have sex. And it was just like, really? While we're all trying to like make dinner happen?
Right,
just,
right,
like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
And
I mean, one of you were talking about, listening to your gut. Another thing we repeat all the time is open, honest, direct. I mean, I think that if whoever your friend group is and whatever the situation is, whether it's in a gay vacation destination or not, I think there are situations where you are with friends and it is clear that there may be a hookup pending or there may be a particular reason that there's a hookup might be special or important. And if you are open and honest with your friends, they may be like, more power to you. If that came through, go do it. We hang all the time. We were hanging this morning. We'll hang later tonight. Go do it. And then there's times where, of course, it's rude because you just wouldn't shirk responsibility, like making dinner or...
Well, I did like last time, like slink away to the meat rack when nothing was happening.
Right.
And I came back and it was like, I was getting ribbed for it back in the house. Like, oh my God. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? And I was like,
well,
really?
that's just jealousy.
Yeah.
That's just jealousy. People are too afraid of the meat rack. I don't know why.
Well, there's a lot of weird feelings come up on Fire Island sometimes around like desirability and around like who's having sex with who. And people will develop these like quiet, completely stealth crushes on this other person. And then like you'll be talking to them and they'll be like, oh my God, that's mine though. You know, and it's like, what?
I have this, I think I've told this story before in the podcast, but it's been a while. I'll repeat it. We were in Fire Island. It was just my husband and myself and a married couple that we're very, very close with. But they live in DC. We don't get to see them that much. And the entire weekend, they kept pointing out this one guy they only knew as an Instagram hottie. And they're like, oh my God, he's here. But we didn't really take exactly much notice of who they were pointing out. And it was very clear we were all allowed to bring a hookup back to the house whenever. And then they had a really late night one night. So they were just kind of asleep in the pool chairs. And my husband ends up bringing home this internet hottie that they've been like, stalking the whole weekend. And I guess like when he came in and then again when he left, like they were just like in the pool chairs, just jaws on the floor. And I was so proud of my husband.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think that, first of all, the problem is me, not Fire Island. I don't think I'm chill enough for Fire Island. Like I go there and it just feels very like...
Yeah. I think everybody, the problem with Fire Island is them. Is themselves.
It's not, okay, I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
It's not chill. Fire Island is not chill, period. That's all I have to say.
I just can't. I think it works really well if you're able to like either turn your brain completely off or like shut it off manually. But like I'm just overthinking all the time on Fire Island. I do, however, love Provincetown.
Same.
The presence of the Portuguese goes a long way for me. Like the bakeries and like the egg tarts, and also it's a real civilization. So there's like restaurants.
Yes,
there's so much to do. There's so many places to go.
I have a strong affection for Fire Island, and I have had incredible experiences there, and I have found that it can be what you make it. But I also do agree with you. It is much harder for me to get out of my head there than it was in Provincetown.
Like, I guess to get back to this person's question, I think that like this is the mental rat's nest that like you're bringing a hookup into sometimes. You know?
Exactly that.
Yeah, who knows what reactions people are bringing to it, but I think it's a place where that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
people are judging people for who they bring home and when.
What do we want to address this part of the question about hookup culture becoming toxic?
We've been talking about this forever. I think it's another like. Every generation is just like, oh, when did it become so toxic?
Right.
You know?
Right. Oh, that's funny.
But also, like, when did we expect every fucking hookup to be perfect and a 10? Especially for us, like, living in such a large metropolitan area with a lot of opportunity cost. People bypass, like, perfectly lovely men in the quest for something, like, marginally better. And that's why we always, like, one of our first quotes from the show was, would you rather a 7 who will host you or a 10 who will ghost you? Like, wouldn't you much rather hook up with someone who's like available and interested than someone who is hotter than that, but like not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is kind of, I find Brian rolls his eyes. I'm on a break. I'm on a break from Sniffies. And I have been all year. Like I'm moving into month 3 of like not being on Sniffies. And I just I realize now being out of it, how fucking exhausting it was.
Yeah. I mean, it's this is the thing. I know a lot of people bring a lot of anxiety to Grindr as well, and they can feel rejected and it makes them feel bad. But one of my policies is I will never let an app on my phone make me feel bad. I'm not going to be bullied by Candy Crush. You know what I mean? I'm just not Grindr doesn't hold that sort of power over me anymore. I remember in college in my early 20s, I was just oh my God, this guy blocked me after I didn't respond or whatever. And it's just whatever.
Yeah.
If you just know what you're getting into to an extent, where it's this is not a place where, I mean, sometimes you find a husband on it.
Sometimes you find a husband on it.
It can happen.
It does happen.
But
yes.
I think when things go sideways on Grindr, I'm never oh my gosh. I'm yeah.
Right. It took me a while to get there. I am also there now. For the most part, every now and again, something will happen that I was what? I thought you literally gave me your address and then you blocked me. What?
Well, yeah.
There's moments like that. I'm but I always have to remind myself that that's all about them and has nothing to do with me, you know? And there could be a million different reasons why that happened. They could have been just jacking off the whole time. And then as soon as they gave me their address, they came, they were done, and we're, so who knows? Doesn't matter. It was about them. It's not about me. But it's not an easy lesson to learn or an easy place to get to.
Finding enlightenment through Grindr.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, that's what people were doing with Hola Papi, right? They were finding enlightenment through Grindr.
Yes. I don't know. For as long as I've been dating people, I've been saying that dating is toxic.
Right. It's not, yes.
I mean, there's new stuff. There's definitely new permutations with technology, et cetera. But I've always thought of it as nightmare world. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the question. We really appreciate it. Please do send your questions to dadsanddaddies@gmail.com. I also want to take this opportunity to remind you all that we have a couple amazing doctors who are ready to come back to the show. Dr. Dimitri Daskalakis, who's the Chief Medical Officer at Callan Lord, who you can ask about literally anything. He was the Chief Vaccination Officer at the CDC until he left because of that awful person who runs it, or runs all of our health in this country. He really wants to come back. We're calling him Dr. Daddy, and so please send us your questions about that. Also, Dr. Evan Goldstein, the country's, if not the world's, leading expert on anal health, who will answer all your bottoming questions, all your butt health questions. Please send us questions for Dr. Goldstein. And also, in a few weeks, we are having Nick Wolney on, who is a financial expert in the queer space. So if you have money questions, send those to us too.
I can't wait to tell Nick that at 75, I'm going to be a 3.2 millionaire. He's going to be so proud of me.
I love math.
I love math.
I'm very curious to his
it's
reaction to
how
that.
is $11 in savings going to turn into 3.2 million? But, okay.
Because Gemini said so. Because AI is always right. John Paul, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, it was really wonderful.
You're welcome back anytime. We're neighbors, right? You're Brooklyn. We're Brooklyn.
Exactly.
I mean, you're from the far reaches of Brooklyn where we have to go into the city to get to you. But, thank you so much for being here. One more time, tell our listeners how they can find you.
Yes. johnpaulbrammer.substack.com.
Yes. And please go because there's so much incredible content there. Thank you all for being with us again. We love you so very much. Please do leave us a rating or a review and a review before you leave the platform on which you are listening to us. Check out dadsanddaddies.com. You can sign up for our weekly newsletter. You can get yourself some Dads and Daddies merch. And with that, I think we'll say goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
See you in a week.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.